The BBC pulls back in exactly the way CBC should. I'm Brian Lilley with the Rebel.media. CBC is mandated by Parliament to be Canada's national broadcaster. Now, I may think they should be sold off, privatized, that there's no need for a government-owned broadcaster, but that's all beside the point. The fact is, Parliament has given them a mandate to provide radio and TV content across the country. But that's not a mandate CBC's happy with, so while complaining that they don't have enough money to do the things Parliament requires of them, CBC's been busy spending millions upon millions on things it wants to do, but has no mandate for, like becoming the national podcaster and the national newspaper for all of Canada. CBC spent years building up its website, not just to promote the radio and TV programs it produces or provide a space for people to watch or listen to some of that, but they're actually spending millions upon millions to produce web-only content. When they were rebuffed at starting a third English language radio network back in the late 90s, early 2000s, the CBC just launched Radio 3 Online. Then when music streaming became popular and mainstream, they launched CBC Music to compete with private music streaming services like Radio, Spotify, Google, Apple, and even homegrown Canadian ones. Again, they were going outside of their mandate to stream pop music as a way to compete with private radio and private music streaming services, all using their taxpayer subsidy. But they still complained that they didn't have enough money. Then they began hiring an army of reporters and opening up newsrooms just to do stories for the web, often print-style news stories for the website. Again, outside of their mandate, spending a fortune doing things no one asked them to do while complaining they don't have enough money to do what they are asked to do. While all of this was happening under both Liberal and Conservative governments, nobody said boo. And in fact, Justin Trudeau and the Liberals, they just gave CBC an extra $150 million more per year because they bought the claptrap. They didn't have enough money. Meanwhile, in Britain, there's a different story. A politician actually calling out BBC for trying to compete in areas, and BBC's responding by cutting back their website. Check out this article in The Telegraph. It's just delightful. In a speech to former BBC staff last week, a member of the corporation's own governing body criticized the broadcaster's website. Richard Eyre, a member of the BBC Trust, called on the corporation to leave the magazine content, the celebrity gossip, the skateboarding ducks, the games, and the puzzles to other providers who, frankly, can do it just as well or better. Then there's this quote from George Osborne, a cabinet minister in David Cameron's Conservative government. If you've got a website that's got features and cooking recipes, effectively, the BBC website becomes the national newspaper as well as the national broadcaster. Isn't that what I've been saying for years about CBC? I literally wrote the book on CBC. It's called CBC Exposed. I've written countless articles and columns on the issue. I've spoken about it on Rebel, and on TV and radio, and I've been warning private broadcasters this is a problem for it's nearly a decade now, and no one has cared. Too many of my media colleagues were happy to appear on CBC, to pocket the appearance money, not care about their mission creep or the way they were competing with their own employers. Some media outlets seemed more concerned with taking CBC ad money than holding the billion-dollar government department to account. That may be changing. Both the Globe and the Star in recent months have noted CBC's mission creep, and this story about the BBC is getting noted by some in the legacy media. This is all positive, but there needs to be more. They need to be cut back. As I say, I've long advocated for selling CBC. It's why I launched our petition, SellTheCBC.ca. Our poll last fall showed 48% of Canadians agreed with that. I'd still encourage you to sign that petition, add your voice if you haven't already. But barring that, CBC should at least stick to their mandate, the mandate Parliament's given them, rather than constantly expanding into areas that cost a lot of money but they have no business being involved with. Britain has politicians willing to hold BBC to account. Maybe one day we'll have politicians that hold CBC to account here in Canada.
Thanks for watching. Click here to never miss a Rebel update. Want even more of the Rebel? Well, click here to become a premium member.